being safe. They're scaling up into team fights, and whilst it's taking Cloud9 a little bit of extra time to finish out their game, they are getting there pretty reliably in the end.
Certainly are, and we'll see what happens here. If we do have any of those surprises in our first draft, first ban is Sion. Stayhouse has been tank plus plank duty all tournament long, so it makes sense to take that out. Diamond also Talia Gragas only, so they'll ban out that jungler. On the other side, hey, it's the two guys that we want to see banned a little bit more because they have been so prevalent. Aatrox and Urgot both banned on the Gambit side.
Yeah, potentially you can go towards something like a Talia here, I was going to say, because it has been Diamond's best champion, hasn't looked as good on the Gragas. So I like the fact that this is the bans that Cloud9 have come out with. I think that that is going to force Stayhouse onto something like the Ornn, potentially something like the Cho'Gath. I don't think you really want to play Gangplank into Licorice, and should give Licorice a lot of freedom to still take a power pick in the top lane.
Actually lost his Lysandra as well. That was the last ban from Gambit, and Diamond will have to show us something new because he has only played those two junglers that Cloud9 have banned so far in play-ins.
And now all the supports are up, so is Tahm Kench going to be the most valuable here, or do they just go towards something like the Kai'Sa? I like it for Sneaky, he's played it 3 times already. This tournament, his damage numbers are absolutely off the chain. However, it does lend itself to some counter pick in the lane. Something like a Lucian Braum. We've seen Tristana try to be picked up. We've seen a little bit of Thresh coming out of Edwards. It is still a 500 range 80 carry that you can try and pick on, so we'll see whether they're able to get something done. I would like to see Lucian Braum if Logic is going to be playing the Lucian in the matchup.
Have to expect as well, has played it once already and has looked pretty good on the champion. We'll see if he can get some sort of traction there in the 2v2. Second pick though for Gambit lining up. You mentioned something like Braum. Alistar has been very popular though, so Edward going to take the playmaking support there.
Yeah, it certainly is, but I think that this does give Zeyzal room to either play Thresh or Tahm Kench. I don't think they're going to be all that concerned. At the same time, there's also still engage options available, so it's not like you're denying the pull if he wants to. Already played a Rakan game in this tournament. Actually, he hasn't. He's played a Leona game, so both kind of engage heavy supports, and I think that that is a little bit of a misread coming out of the Gambit lineup.
Cloud9 actually going to take the kind of lane dominant support here as well. They'll grab the Braum for themselves up against the Alistar, and Blabber, sort of as expected, will take the comfort pick there. Does take Kindred here in phase 1.
And I mean, this makes a lot of sense when you partner it with a Kindred. All of a sudden, you've got a very good team fighting comp coming out of the Cloud9 roster. I expect Jungle to be picked up here. See whether it is something aggressive like a Xin Zhao to try and fight some fire with fire for Diamond, because he's already had 2 jungle bans played towards him, and if you don't take it right now, then you're just not going to be able to be on any kind of power pick.
All right, there's Nocturne actually for Diamond Fox. So like we said, was pushed to a new jungler, so taking something very aggressive there up against the Kindred. We'll see how that one works out. Ban phase 2, though, will kick things off, and it does feel like in some ways Gambit are priced into at least banning Zilean, which has been the thing that Cloud9 have played so much with Zilean Kindred.
Yep, absolutely. Also, Galio should be taken away here. I think that ideally, Kira would be the person prioritizing that pickup, and as they do have first pick out of this ban phase, maybe they don't have to take it off the board. But I agree with you, those support mages, maybe even something like a Karma, although Jensen only has 1 play on it in the summer split, I believe, would be able to facilitate this double 80 carry comp very nicely.
Also, on the teamfight side, Ornn banned away by Gambit. Cloud9 take LeBlanc off the table. So it's kind of removing some of the more aggressive and dynamic options there in mid lane.
Yeah, because what you don't want to give the Gambit lineup right now is a 1-3-1 comp where Nocturne can attack your support mage. If you are going to play a support mage, as we've mentioned that they should be on the side of Cloud9, then you want to be able to enter into team fights without getting dragged around the map. We've already said that whilst Cloud9's early game has been fine on the top side of the map, there are some weaknesses that you can look to exploit in the inexperienced rookies. And the last thing they really want is Diamond Prox and Kira being able to just drag them everywhere.
Cloud9 talking pretty heavily about this last ban. I wonder if they're thinking what you were, Spawn, that out of phase 2, Galio seems like a pretty big threat. They will ban Syndra, though, for taking more of that early power away from Kira.
And the reason I'm saying Galio right now, even though it can be countered, is I think that Jensen's counter at this stage isn't as powerful as Licorice's. However, they disagree, and it's going to be Stayhouse grabbing himself a pick here. That is really against the grain of what I thought we would see in this match.
Yeah, because now you give Licorice counter pick and you let Jensen take the Galio if you wanted it. I mean, I assume Kira has something prepared if that's the pick they're expecting, but we'll see what C9 have here for these last 2 picks around out the draft. But is very interesting that they're going to give Kira counter pick. Perhaps with Rise up though, they were thinking it would sneak through. So that will be the pick here for Jensen. Kind of funny to see Rise drop so low in the draft, but is finally picked up here.
And I think it is the lesser of all the evils that Jensen would have been able to grab in this situation. It's certainly not going to pair as well with Blabber as something like the Zillion would have been able to do. So I do think that Gambit would be happy with that selection. I want to see what Licorice goes towards here, whether he goes towards an old school matchup like Rumble. You mentioned actually that you wanted to see more Poppy this tournament.
There she is. Lock in there for Licorice. Gonna take that up against the tank. Had maybe Gangplank as an option as well. Into the tank matchup has played that a lot in the year. But
I mean, I think it would have been a good pick in isolation for the lane, given the fact that Nocturne not going to pressure you all that much, and it is going to be a Maokai, which can be a free farm lane with Grasp. But at the same time, I also do think that their composition needed some form of front line, right? So not really going to go with that. Cassiopeia is a counter pick here. We said we didn't want to see it. That is a much better pick in my opinion. Control Mage for Kira is going to be crucial in this matchup.
Yeah, and again, Diamond, the guy that's really gotten everything done for this squad. He has so much KP, 78.4% from him. So generally, nothing happens unless Diamond makes it happen. So he and Kira are going to have to team up and really make some plays happen in the mid-game.
But the big thing for me is whilst his kill participation is so high, he's yet to participate in a proactive First Blood. He has been First Blooded once himself, however, hasn't been able to pick up any of those, whereas Blabber, 75% of the time, he is the person that is involved in that kill. So a little bit more proactive early game. Diamond once again on a farm 6 jungler, and actually just really a farm 6 comp apart from that bottom lane. So we'll see how much early game presence the jungler of Gambit can secure.
And I think it is good to see from the rookie there. I know that I think you agree in that when you have these young players, it's good to just get them reps and let them do the things that they instinctually want to do. Because if they don't learn on the bigger stage, they're never going to learn.
In League of Legends, almost always doing something is better than doing nothing. You have to be able to spend resources. If you allow your jungle to collapse, you know, if you give up things like Baron, you just passively lose out on the game. The game gets harder as it progresses in that sense. I think that the one thing I will applaud Blabber on is his ability to make plays. I think that his mis-execution at time has cost Cloud9 pretty majorly in this world. Obviously, it hasn't resulted in a loss yet. However, I do really think that he has to stay to his style. We've said it all the time. When you go to another team's style, when you don't have the confidence to play within yourself, then it does turn out poorly.
Well, we'll see what happens here as we'll load up for game 1 between Gambit and Cloud9. A spot in the main event is on the line. Gambit slowly but surely progressing from their stages from World 2017 to MSI 2018 this year. If they can take down Cloud9, not only would it be a monumental upset for North America, but it would prove that they are again once able and willing to play on the biggest stage.
And I think the major thing as we head into game 1 to take away is that we haven't seen relative group strength. So whilst Cloud9 looked challenged but remained undefeated, and Gambit did have a couple of shocking games versus G-Rex and only were able to beat out KLG, we don't know how those teams stack up against each other. So coming into this, you kind of heard Reaper, you have to give a lot of respect. You have to take a little bit of scrim results in, but also know that this is now the main stage. And until you actually, you know, throw down in the early game, you're not really going to know how this game sorts out. In saying that, I do like the proactiveness of Cloud9's top side of the map. I think they can start getting things done. And really, Gambit is going to have to absorb a lot of pressure.
And I think also use Logic and Edward. We'll see if they can get it done on the Lucian Alistar lane, but Zazel already fighting Edward there with a Q. Just a little bit of vision traded back and forth here as Edward does try and get the ward slapped down, but no sweeper, so that one will stay up to see the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, and Logic just playing very passively. Generally, if you have the E on Lucian, you're going to be able to take down that first ward. Obviously not valuing it all that much. Going to be a defensive lane coming out of Zazel as well. Cloud9's bottom lane is yet to die in the first 15 minutes of a game. So that is very standard. And Sneaky on the Kai'Sa just wants to get towards those late game team fights.
Yeah, you can see C9's duo will be a little late here to the lane as junglers start on the opposite sides of the map. Licorice and Stayhouse will match up in their lane for the first time in game number 1, as Blabber is going to go red to Krugs. We'll see where he wants to path next, as looks like Diamond has actually done the same, but of course the maps are flipped.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Nocturne's really lucky in that his AoE clear is great regardless of starting item, whereas Kindred struggles a little bit more on the AoE clears at the beginning of the game, so we'll see how the pathing does work out. Kindred, in saying that, with the solo camps, is going to be able to do them incredibly fast. And I want to see whether Blabber uses any of that early game advantage to try and impact top lane, or whether this does just turn into a farm fest and he tries to counter gank Diamond.
Well, here's the first important thing for him. Mark on the left-hand Scuttle Crab here. Blabber will start it off, and that ward placed a little too far right on the Gambit side, so will not see this going down. Blabber even saving his smite just to make sure he got the bounty.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, it's just that as a Nocturne, you don't really want to challenge for Scuttle Crabs early on in the game. So I think that he's done the right thing there. His top lane is being shoved in massively. In fact, you know, Licorice versus Stehos is probably one of the biggest mismatches in this best of 5. Licorice performing very well for the Cloud9 lineup, and I mean, Stehos has struggled so far, I think it's fair to say.
Trading back and forth though. As you mentioned, Licorice very far up, pushing this lane. Gonna get the stack moving in towards the Malka, who is checking for Blabber potentially wrapping around the turret. There's a sapling in there, but we know Blabber's busy on his blue side jungle right now. And Jensen looks like he's just getting a little bit of lane control here versus Kira. Took some trades in the early on that weren't too good, but we've seen a lot of farming in mid lane with a Time Warp Tonic especially, and getting some of that here as well.
And that's what I was going to mention, you know, the ability to allow the wave to hit the turret, to reverse off at the right time, something that Jensen has been able to accomplish in this laning phase. Of course, he just wants to farm up for tier, maybe Dark Seal as well at the same time. Should be able to get his recall off once again. Teleport mid laner. We've seen it all before Pastry, but this early game, no fireworks as of yet. Just expect slow and steady play. And I mean, I actually think that that has to suit the Gambit lineup. You know, once they get the Nocturne ultimate, once they have Shockwave available to them, they can make some proactive plays in these lanes.
It's a tierless TP there from Jensen actually. Just picked up the Dark Seal and some boots for heading back to lane. Diamond though, quick invade for Vision into the jungle. Does get the Scryer's Bloom, but is now on C9's ward as he goes back for his first recall.
So there's two things when you walk in and get Scryer's Bloom that you generally do. You either scout out camps to try and figure out where the jungler is. In this case, wasn't able to spot Blabber, but we probably know that means a recall. The opposite you can do is throw it back towards your jungle. That just means that you're not going to get spotted as you go for camps, which is incredibly important. Just because as a Nocturne, you have very little pressure already. If they know your recall timing, they can just play like this.
Yep, you can see Jensen using an early TP to just burn all the mana, force Kira out of the lane. Licorice also barely missed a stunt onto Stehos, but will force him out of the lane now, and likely force TP as he does burn it. Licorice already 10 CS up in that 1v1.
Yeah, and that's climbing towards where he wants to be. He's actually up, you know, nearly 18 CS at 15 minutes. Against someone like Stehos, who was already struggling this tournament, will be more. Edward in trouble.
Good flash though. Alistar gonna get out of there, but Blabber with the early red smite did go down bot, get some attention. As Licorice also going to TP back to lane with those Merc Treads now finished, and get the wave pushing back in the right direction as Jensen being very persistent with his Harassir versus Kira.
Yeah, Kira needs some help to shove this wave out. Wouldn't be surprised to see if they just bring the Nocturne in and try and Dustbringer this one out. He's potentially even going to get Dove Pastry time, which means Diamond 100% needs to be around here.
Licorice and Fog as well. Kira's like, yeah, I need to go. They think finally spot Licorice, as Stehos probably ping missing, but now Diamond's going to face check the Poppy. Licorice still chasing, lethal tempo proc for Nocturne. Jensen proxying to force Kira to cancel that recall briefly. This is just rude.
It certainly isn't. It's just a massive advantage for the solo lane, as we said, that this is the area of the map where we think that Cloud9 have the advantage. Jensen just able to deny so much CS. As they actually go forward, that's bad.
2v2, Edward though, Blabber back in bot lane for the other time. There's the stun into the Alistar, no flash from earlier. Edward is going to go down, and that's Blabber that grabs first blood. Now Logic going to get Dove, the stun there landing from Concussive Blow. Is going to force Logic to burn away under the turret. But C9 already off to an early start.
And just a brain fade out of Edward. He didn't have flash. He knew that Blabber was somewhere around that play, because otherwise they wouldn't have rotated Licorice down. Able to punish the aggression of the Gambit support. Once again, a first blood picked up for Cloud9. And they just have no vision. They have no idea where he was. And Diamond had been topside jungle. So they knew that he wasn't on that side of the dive. Just a strange choice for Edward to go in for that play. Logic tries to get the return kill. In the end, has to burn summoner spells to get himself to safety.
Now Licorice going to get Shockwave back, still pretty tanky. It does have his flash. Ulti from Stehos, going to catch in the brambles. A little too slow. Licorice trying to flash out, but there's the ulti from Licorice. Gets one out, but Kira still chasing, needs a few more. And Poppy maybe going to live under the turret. Those Merc Treads came up clutch.
Certainly did, and they just used so much. And I love the Merc Treads pickup. Base magic resistance at this stage of the game when you are against primarily a magic damage top side of the map. You know, only Nocturne bringing that AD is going to keep you safe in situations like that. In saying that, did get his flash out in trade for Stayhosses, so maybe a little bit of a less volatile top lane in these situations.
As we can see, the topside advantage that we kind of expected from Cloud9 is quite a bit bigger than I think Gambit were asking for. Jensen is looking like his old self in some ways, 20 CS ahead of Kira in that 1v1, and it is constant triple lane pressure currently.
It certainly is, so they need to be able to withstand this because Cloud9, this split, hasn't necessarily played, you know, that mid lane, win game style of league as they go in top lane.
Licorice no flash, ulti in for the Nocturne, but Licorice gonna try and fight his way out. No chance at all though, and Stayhouse grabs himself a kill.
Yeah, very strange that Stayhouse took that one. Would have been great on Diamond, racing towards a warrior enchant. Would have been a big deal for the Nocturne. First gank, a success, however. And we'll see whether they can continue this pressure because we said, you know, top lane mismatch could be in Cloud9's favor, but right now Stayhouse actually up in experience, up in that CS, and now has a kill to his name, going to be able to continue to scale, and really no one deals with Maokai well in the late game. This is just, one more time, Licorice being a little bit over-aggressive, trying to get his wave into the turret, trying to aggress up in the lane, has actually one of the highest forward in the lanes out of anyone in play-ins so far. And just not working out.
Certainly not. Diamond with a good gank. A Nocturne Classic as he goes back and finishes his Warrior. Blabber, though, has been farming healthily as well, so he's got Devourer already finished pretty early on. The Sneaky and Zazen continuing to play up in this lane. Kai'Sa a little down on CS, but certainly up in pressure, which for a Kai'Sa lane, I think is about all you can ask for.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, Kai'Sa is way better than 6 CS on Lucian late game. It's just about whether Sneaky can get there or whether this Gambit lineup can continue to aggress forward. You know, next Nocturne ultimate going to be very important. Can they get it down into the bottom lane? This is what we talk about when we say, you know, the Cloud9 roster plays around their rook. Kira's still in the mid lane trying to shove that one out, needs another recall. And as 4 members, C9, walk in on the blue buff, and there's also a mark there, well, there was a mark there if they wanted to stick around. Obviously no longer the case. However, Blabber just doing a very good job of coordinating these invades, keeping Gambit back.
Good convert onto the Drake as well. Edward with a shallow ward will not spot Blabber in the pit, but I think C9 have more than enough pressure regardless. The Blabber will happily solo down the mountain. Even miss mice just for a bit of fun. It was by 5 health, it's fine.
He's fine, grabbing himself another mark. We'll see whether this is going to be the Blade of the Wrong King picked up as well for Blabber, whether he does really go all out. He is going to have to deal with a Maokai on the front line. Devour into Bork is one of the few builds as a jungler that you can go towards that.
Diamond back in topside though. I like what he's doing. Once again, gonna ult Licorice. Still in trouble, gonna try and get his way out of there. The ulti channeling up. He kicks one out, but Diamond's still here under the turret. And the Brambles from Stayhouse will stay as Licorice still fighting for his life. Picks up his shield. He's gonna be enough, but Diamond does flash forward to get the kill, but it will be a trade in the end. And now here's Jensen gonna look to try and take down Stayhouse. Roam warps up. Knockback there by the Q as Jensen gets the first combo started. Damage is down. Stayhouse. Sap Magic is just trying to stay alive for a little while longer, but Jensen will keep chasing. Under the turret he goes. Jensen forced to flash. Minions still booking the last Q as Jensen. He wants it, but he can't get a range as bot side. There will be a dive as well. Zazel too low as a coming from Logic will keep him back alive, but Edward also all in that situation. And what carnage here is Jensen. He still fancies his chances here in the top side.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Stayhouse stuck around for a little bit too long. Will be once again forced off another wave. So whilst Jensen not able to convert on the kill, will deny some CS. But Kira, really the stay-at-home mid laner right now, bottom lane under siege.
Yep, first tower up for grabs here for Cloud9. They will stick around 3 strong, make it 4 as the TP secures that kill. Ult in from Kai'Sa onto Logic. Here's Nocturne, but it's too late. That's Edward already dead. And Logic does get away, but he's forced to burn the flash, and Cloud9 still collect the prize.
Yeah, and communication errors coming across from the Gambit lineup. You can see Edward going forward, Logic trying to get out of dodge. Take another look at this top lane dive, and Licorice with that shield that is about to become back available is just so much more tanky. Does a good job of dodging out, gets rid of Stayhouse who was tanking up the turret, and this buckler right here that he's able to pick up just keeps him alive for the entirety of the play. Gets the summoner spell out. That's the best trade that you can expect, and Sap Magic is an annoying passive pastry time. Right here, Jensen's like, I've got him. Nope, that's a big heal. Okay, don't worry about it. Next round of spells, I'll have him again. Able to grab a grass proc for himself. The Sap Magic would have been back up and available if Jensen went for the dive. Just Maokai is real frustrating.
And I think when people ask me, like, why is Ryze hard to play? That's the thing. Because you're playing Ezreal as a mid laner with all these minions blocking your damage ability. Jensen, unfortunately for him, could not find that last Q, and Stayhos did play well to stay alive. Still, Cloud9 win big in the bot side of the map, and they've already moved their duo up here to top lane. Sneaky, in fact, is one completed item already through against the lane where he's supposed to be down in pressure.
I mean, with the color as well, he's just got everything going in his favor. Not to mention the fact that Stormrazor is such a good first item spike for the Kai'Sa. Really does hide a lot of the weakness in the kit. So Sneaky off to a blinder, and what we've seen is if Sneaky gets towards the 2, 3, 4 item mark in this mid to late game, the Cloud9 are able to convert on their team fights.
Well, we'll see what Gambit can do to try and play catch up, because down a little over 2,000 gold. And again, definitely down in total pressure. As Jensen and Kira still back at it. Kira trying to get this wave pushing in the right direction, but Monica and Edward under threat of their turret, continuing to take hits. And Blabber up here on the top side may commit for some sort of play here. Perhaps the Rift Herald is the next thing on the cards.
And I think this is a different play style from what we're used to seeing out of Cloud9. You know, we haven't seen Licorice get any more help. Normally, once he builds his advantage, they do leave him on the island, but they are willing to spend some resources to get him ahead. Obviously, in the tank versus tank matchup, that's not as important, so just allowing him to farm up. On the flip side of the map, they really have given a lot of resources towards Sneaky, you know. 2 kills going into that lane. We'll see whether they can continue that pressure.
Blue buff over to Jensen here as Gambit are going to move up to try and take this Rift Herald. Kira going to zone them out with a ball. Edward though also poking his head around. Could be kind of a rough position here for Cloud9, but Gambit is just trying to get to the Herald safely. Still the fight's going to start. Blabber going to get initiated on there. So Shockwave ulti is enough, but Blabber actually dies. He didn't ult in time and make it to his Zazel force as well. Sneaky forced to flash out to safety. So that's Gambit with 2 kills plus the Herald.
That's a great team fight coming out of Gambit, and they just acknowledge the fact that we're losing the laning phase. Let's try and turn it around with our big team fight ultimates, and they're going to look to convert that into a mid lane turret pastry time. Just pulling the trigger on the play.
I think Cloud9 a little too hesitant there, trying to block the Herald. Instead, Gambit, they make the proactive play. Edward once again starts off the playmaking, and that turret is dead easy as Shelly charges in. Gambit finally equalized, taking a central point of the map. That's going to force Jensen to come in and answer this, and all of a sudden, the gold's tied back up.
And I like that out of Kira as well. Even though he doesn't have mana, just walk Shelly up to the next turret, ensure that it gets a charge off, gets maximum value. And all this is how squishy Blabber is at this stage of the game. And as soon as he goes in, if they blow him up before he ultimates, the team fight is there. And look at the chain CC. Just perfectly layered. There is so much in the kit. Sneaky also has to burn Flash to get out, which means his days of playing the laning phase aggressively are probably now done. And Gambit really send a message there.
Sneaky is going to be forced back. Kira now going to pick up blue. Hasn't quite finished his first item just yet. Took a detour for Oblivion Orb. Wanted to get a bit more early strength here as Jensen has finished up the stuff.
Yeah, I actually really like that build when you're not able to build yourself the Sork boots. You still pack an early game punch. You're able to navigate the mana of the laning phase, especially now that he's picked himself up a blue buff. So I think that Kira on the right track here. Expect him to go Luden's next. But Jensen is just so far ahead, Pastry, that if he is caught out in the 1v1, it's still going to be difficult for him. Edward face checking.
Yep, he's going to maybe get stunned up here. Does get stunned, but Diamond in the mid lane wants to try and take him down. The ball not ready. Jensen forced to flash out, though. Zazel doesn't answer. 4 for Gambit, once again looking for a pickoff.
I mean, one more time, that is Diamond going in and Diamond getting a summoner spell for himself. And this time it's on the rise with a dragon, you know, about to come up. So they're still pulling the proactive play, and everything really right now is hovering around this Nocturne. Gotta respect the fact that Diamond, whilst having acquired an early game, since then has had 100% kill participation, and he's just building for the all-out aggression.
Yeah, you can see Warrior plus BF Sword and 2 Longsword is about as much AD as you can afford early, as the Drake also does go over to Gambit. They'll equalize on that front. In the meantime, Sneaky is trying to get this next turret pushed down, but Cloud9 have certainly been put a little off kilter by Gambit, and in particular, Diamond's mid-game aggression.
Yeah, they certainly have, but the one member of Cloud9 that you really can't rattle at the moment is going to be Sneaky. And I mean, he's still farming absolutely fine. He's taking himself down 2 turrets at the same time. He would hold majority of this 1,300 gold lead for himself, and he's going up against the earlier game carry. So he knows with that cull cashed in, if he can just get towards the Winsus, maybe a Banshee's Veil, something along those lines as his next item. He's going to be fine in the mid to late game. And I think that having a player like that for you gives your rookies a lot of confidence to make their early game plays. And they've been able to do that, you know, Blabber rolling. They've had some good impact so far out of Zeyzal. And you just got that insurance policy of Sneaky being there at the end.
Certainly has been kind of his thing all career long, and still showing up here in his 4th Worlds, I believe. 4th or 5th, can't exactly remember. Gambit, though, continuing to apply some pressure. Logic does get the wave push into the turret, but Sneaky just runs in and scoops up the rest of this farm, no problem.
I mean, the evolution of Sneaky has actually been really cool because at a certain point, you know, they were playing Ashe Zyra, they did have some lane dominance, but then all of a sudden they turned into great team fighters. And I think that Sneaky's career has just been highlighted by fantastic versatility. Kind of now playing everything, taking the strongest AD carry if he wants to, and I think that the fact that he is the mainstay of this roster, that he is, you know, the last remaining member of the OG Cloud9, is a lot to do with the fact that he continues to evolve.
And that's the thing, it's coupled with consistency, which is extremely rare for a player at any level, especially the highest level, that you can be as versatile but as consistent as Sneaky has been, especially at these high-stakes tournaments. So Cloud9, they've had a lot of changes this year, a lot of roster shuffling, but Sneaky, despite also getting benched himself for a period of time, has stayed true. Still looking good here with his 4th Kai'Sa game here at Worlds 2018 as C9 trying to make something happen, but we've certainly started slowing down the pace here in the middle of the game.
Yeah, and I think that you do have to worry about Blabber as well as Sneaky having full vision control over the Baron area. It's not spawned yet, still a minute away. However, being able to secure that so early means that they can sneak it if they're able to get Braum into the pit at the same time. Not to mention the fact that if you face check and lose a team fight at this stage of the game, going to be disastrous around that area of the map. So I do appreciate how early they were willing to move in, but that's when, you know, you applaud the veterancy of people like Edward of Diamond to not face check the area, no camps on the top side of the map, just catch waves. And once again, this is a press R composition they've put together. Maybe some fight in the mid lane.
Ooh, proactive play looking for Kira. There's Zeyzal with a flash Q. He will miss, but the exhaust will land. Now going to get tied up as Diamond going to try and come in, but under the turret, Blabber picks up an easy one. And for the first time in this game, Diamond's ulti is not impactful.
Yeah, you could see that Diamond wanted to re-engage it. They actually used Stayhos's teleport as well, but not able to get there in time. Just a fantastic call to rotate everyone in. Even with the skill shot missing, they still have enough to pick up the kill. Cloud9 now can continue to try and siege down. 20 minutes into the game, as those picks start getting later and later, they become more and more impactful. Still not able to crack Gambit, and Gambit's still within 2,000 gold.
Yeah,
certainly holding up.
Keeping mid out of very important. Cloud9, I think just taking their recalls came a little too early perhaps to force something too hard, and now with Gambit back out on the map, they'll finally get themselves around the Baron area for the next time in this game and try and scoop out some of the vision. But again, going back, items are being picked up. Jensen Seraph has transformed, has Oblivion Orb to join his cooldown boots, and Blabber finished that Black Cleaver. We're kind of just waiting for Sneaky's Ginsu's to be the first thing that maybe prompts the next bit of action from Cloud9.
And Logic once again going for the Essence Reaver. Really does seem to favor this item build. And in a composition where multiple members can get access through the backline, you know, all of a sudden Licorice can take a Rise Portal. You have Sneaky that is able to get in there as well with the ultimate. You would think maybe a little bit more tank factor coming out of that Black Cleaver would be useful, but staying true to the build. At the same time, I think both of these tanks are going to really struggle to peel for their compositions. You know, you got Knockdown Ultimate, Jensen in trouble.
Good flash for both, but they're already collapsing onto Jensen. Licorice trying to peel them off. A good stopwatch. He's going to buy enough time. Ulti though from Kira. Blabber with a great last-second ulti though, as Gambit continue to try and dive. Diamond, he wants it. He will get it. And now pops his own watches. Gambit need to get themselves under that turret, but Diamond, he will be left for dead as Sneaky late rejoins the fight. Stayhouse still around for far too long as Sneaky looks to play Janitor. Blabber grabs himself the shutdown. Still alive as he's cutting out under the turret as Edward cannot find it. And Sneaky, he will Killer Instinct in. Take down Kira as Logic left. The only one alive from Gambit as Cloud9 collect the ace and Sneaky collects the triple.
What a team fight out of the Cloud9 lineup. They punish the over-aggression coming from Gambit. We said team fights around that 20-minute mark can be devastating, and they will convert it into a Baron.
And it just seems all too easy for Cloud9, who win the first major team fight of the game. 22 minutes in, they'll scoop up the Baron. and they have built a massive lead after that play.
And his mind was telling him no, but his body, you can see he just gets underneath the turret immediately. Old school Lee syndrome. Of course, it takes place with the Maokai as well. And the surprising thing was that they continued this fight. I thought that once Diamond went in and traded his life, the rest of the members would back away, but they did try and re-engage and save him. Was looking okay until Stayhos really just overextended. Paid the iron price one more time, and Gambit lineup so close. You can see health bars. Looks like it could have been okay, but the fact that Sneaky wasn't there for any of it, still had the full kit available to be able to unleash.
And first ace, understandably, our Ace of Predator replay for this game. C9 so far ahead now, 6,500 gold with Baron, looking to push down even more turrets. All tier 2 is up for the taking.
My
Gambit
goodness.
must defend.
The damage out of Blabber in that fight, just able to free fire on the back line. Really did get it done, and it's going to be another Zeal item coming out of Sneaky. We've seen a couple of different adaptations in the build. When he does have to be an AD user, does like to pick up the Hurricane. Has also got Infinity Edge, incredibly late game, which you don't generally see on a Kai'Sa. But I think both AD and AP do have, you know, some validity to them at this stage.
Yeah, I like to say that Kai'Sa scales pretty well with items. So when you got a lot of versatility and you're the strongest late game carry in the game, there's a reason we've seen so much Kai'Sa. C9 though do take a turret. Actually get 2. Jensen was busy split pushing with his TP and ulti ready to go. So that's 2 for Cloud9 already on the Baron power play, and still a minute 40 left to try and siege down more and perhaps crack the base of Gambit as well.
Yeah, now he's picked up his Morello Nomaton. He'll probably go towards a Banshee's Veil. He is very hard to deal with for the Maokai, because Maokai relies on being able to use Sap Magic to just push out waves. Hasn't got a Sunfire Cape either, so going to have to expend mana. So Stayhos doesn't really have any great answers against Jensen, and given the fact that he has Teleport as well, they can match that. At the same time, I don't think Kira's really going to do anything to the adaptive Helm Poppy at this stage of the game.
I think we look again, the best answer has to be Diamond. Coming into those side lanes with the ulti, I mean, whatever he does needs to work for Gambit once his Baron buff has worn off. Whether it's a full 5-man engage, riding in with the ball on top of him, or trying to pick off a straggler in the 1-3-1 in these side lanes. But for Cloud9, they're the ones with really almost all the pressure in this game, and they will translate this up towards the top side and try and take turret number 6.
And this is what experienced teams do. They recognize your windows. Okay, ultimate back up and available from Diamond. He's going to look to attack a side lane. Probably still can't take down Licorice given the fact that Jensen's ultimate can come in. So they just group Jensen. They say, we don't need to go towards the 1-3-1. That is the one avenue back in the game. Instead, let's group up. Let's try and break the base. That is a great Poppy ultimate to do that.
Yeah, Blabber even tagging Diamond procs. They're going to look to try and take him down. He's got the GA, but his health will fall down low enough. The Shockwave, just a bit defensive there from Kira, and not enough to even grab a cooldown. Here's Stayhos now. The Brambles are out, but C9, they've already grabbed the inhibitor.
And that is every ultimate use, really, apart from the culling, to be able to get them anywhere, and they take the creep wave across pastry time. This is going to be the base broken in the second area.
Yep, mid inhibitor is going to fall down as well, and just enough time. 1 second left on the Baron or thereabouts, and Cloud9 grab almost everything. 10,000 gold ahead now, and maybe even thinking about the bot side. Oh, hello, Diamond. In onto Blabber, who burns the ulti, and Diamond, you've got no GA left. He's going to get stunned up in the Lambda spike, but not enough as Jensen finds the pick off in the end. Logic a little too far forward as Zazel. Maybe thinking of letting the ulti rip. Kira does not have his ultimate back around, so it's Jensen that grabs the double. Going to make it 3 as Edward falls on the other side as Jensen. He's just rampaging in towards the Gambit carries, looking to take down even more. And with 3 dead, Gambit will concede the base, and game 1, Cloud9 will storm in and take the Nexus.
Yeah, and it looked like they had the fight, they had the pick, but just too mobile. Blabber gets over the wall and makes them pay.
Slow, steady, and standard it is for Cloud9, but more than enough to find themselves that mid-game lead and crush Gambit in the face here in game number 1. Nexus down, Cloud9 thinking only 2 more left to go as Blabber grabs himself a fountain kill.
And a very quick game 1 for Cloud9. Gambit looked like they were hanging in that early to mid game very nicely, but one mistake and the North American lineup punishes them once again.